MAR10.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret 64 is the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. Today we got a nice slate of news for you, and we got some games that I've been playing. I decided to combine the coming soon in the video game news section, and we're probably going to switch up the style of this episode because I feel like big news happened this week or big enough, and there really wasn't like a video game release that is big enough for me to put in the title this week, so I'm going to switch things around a little bit. But first, I just want to say I've been sick almost this entire past week, and I'm finally getting around to being better. Started off with like a sore throat almost literally on the same day that I recorded last week's episode. And then it just, like, the sore throat got worse for 2 days. And then I was like, and then Thursday came around, which was the Ferret Cafe episode. And I was like, oh, I feel a lot better. I can do this. So we did the Jeopardy, which will be available to watch on demand the following week here. And then the day after that, I must have gotten a sinus infection because my sinuses were blazing. I was a booger machine for quite some time. So today, though, I'm feeling much better. I still got a little bit of that, like, I don't know, phlegm, I guess. So if I accidentally do a cough or something during the episode and I miss it, in the editing process, I do apologize. But let's just jump right in today with the first part of the show, which is what was revealed at that gaming showcase. All right, this was actually a pretty decent showcase, an Xbox partner showcase here, partner preview. I apologize. They showed off some new stuff, also some things that we already knew about. They also revealed some games getting coming to Game Pass, which was kind of cool too. So we'll go through all that here. First up, they showed a game called Unknown 9, Unknown 9 Awakening. Which, I mean, it kind of looked like Assassin's Creed almost in a way. It's almost like a stealth action game. It's hard to kind of, well, I guess there's like magical powers in it, so that's the defining feature of the game. There, you got some magic to use, like a force field and some sort of electric ability. Also, the enemies are using, like, some sort of, like, crazy weapons, with, like, I don't even know, like, it looks like an MP5 with, like, a freaking Wolfenstein get up on it. I don't know. It looks fine. I don't know what to say. It kind of, like I said, it kind of looks like a Assassin's Creed. Has some magic in there. And that's supposed to come out some point in summer. So there you go. Sleight of Hand is a stealth action deck builder. This is coming to Game Pass. They didn't show any gameplay for it though, which was kind of annoying because a deck builder, you kind of want to see what the game is really about. Looks like it's possible that it's going to be like a third person stealth action game where you use the cards on the field. It could also be like a top down stealth action game, kind of like XCOM, with the cards. You put the cards down on the field, maybe. Oh no, here it says it's a third-person stealth action deck builder. So I'm thinking it's going to be that first thing I said. It's going to be like a third-person game where you use the cards for stealth action stuff. One of the most interesting games from this was called The Alters. This is a game where you play as like an astronaut or whatever who's kind of, I don't know, lost in space or something. You're like a worker. And what you do is in order to survive in space, you make you make alternative versions of yourself. So you pull alternative versions of you from different points in your timeline, and you get them to work. And of course, each version of you is a bit different, and some of them are a lot different. And sometimes you'll need to keep them happy, or you'll need to remove one who's a troublemaker or something like that. I find it to be a very interesting prospect. I think that's a very interesting idea for the game. It looks like there's like open world areas, but then there's also the areas inside of your little circular rolling vehicle. So this is probably the most interesting game out of the bunch. I felt like this one definitely had one of the coolest ideas to it, and I believe this one is also coming to Game Pass as well. You can get it on other platforms too, like PlayStation and Steam. So it's not an Xbox exclusive either. Which I don't think most of these were Xbox exclusives, honestly. Creatures of Ava is headed to Game Pass in 2024. This one, I think that the graphical style is kind of nice. It's like a blocky kind of cel shaded kind of look to it. And it looks like you play like a Pied Piper type character who leads animals and captures animals or whatever, tames them, like I should say. And you kind of make your village better or whatever. You're essentially trying to heal the forest, but you also have some mechanics of like base building and stuff like that. There's also like a group of, I guess, inhabitants, native people to the land who also share their way of life with you, which is kind of cool. So seems interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna like invest a lot of time into it, but that's coming in 2024. Roblox. This was an interesting reveal. Roblox is a Roblox sub game called Griefville is having Chucky, the doll Chucky, or the horror villain, the horror movie villain Chucky, join it. Yes, players will be able to play as Chucky. Now, if you don't recall, Dead by Daylight's adding Chucky to the game too, so I guess, or maybe they already did. I don't remember. It's just kind of funny that both those games are adding Chucky to it. The Roblox one is much more bizarre since it's like a sub game inside of Roblox essentially. So I don't know. The Sinking City 2 was revealed at the show here, and I believe it is coming to Xbox Game Pass. This was a pretty interesting announcement. We haven't seen a Sinking City game for a while, and then if you don't recall, Frogwares, the people behind it, the developers behind it, Frogwares, they went through like this legal dispute with their publisher, and now they officially own all their IPs that they had put out there, like the Sinking City and I believe the Sherlock Holmes series. So I didn't play the first game. I know it got some mixed reviews here and there. I think it's like a third-person action game, kind of. This one says combat and exploration are the main focus, with the horror setting being more prominent. So I guess they took the criticisms from the first game, I think, and have improved upon it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Sinking City 2. I don't think that is coming to Game Pass. I don't know if I said that. Final Fantasy XIV Online is getting a full release on Xbox, and there is like a bonus that you can get because it is a free-to-play game. I'm pretty sure there's like a bonus you can get if you play on Xbox Game Pass. The open beta for it is available now, and you can get ready for the full release on March 21st. The starter edition will be available through Game Pass Ultimate. Claim between March 21st and April 19th. There you go. Also, kind of in the same vein of things, Persona 3 Reload Expansion Pass will be available. The Expansion Pass is coming March 12th to Xbox One, and PC, and it will be available through Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for free for people who are a part of the Perks program. So the same thing as Final Fantasy XIV, kind of interesting, I guess. Stalker, the original trilogy was, people are saying remastered, but it's kind of like a quote-unquote remaster. It's really just like an HD re-release of the game. I don't think they actually redid anything other than like button mapping and stuff like that. They actually released the entire trilogy on all platforms, so I believe you can get it on PC, PlayStation, maybe not Switch. But I think this is a pretty cool thing that they did. All three of the original games are out there Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Skies, and Call of Pripyat. So if you want to check those out before Stalker 2 comes out later this year, it's still supposed to come out on like September 5th. You can go through the entire trilogy of where the game started. It's kind of like an open world action game. There's like multiple choices and stuff like that and stuff going on. It's been a series that I've wanted to dive into, but the older games are a little bit clunky. And maybe this one's still a little bit clunky. I don't know. But it is nice that they are allowing you to play all their old games on newer hardware now. You can also play them on Steam, but like I said, this is like a redone port of the game, so might work better on Steam. And if you want to, you can get the Platinum Trophy on all 3 games on PlayStation, if that's what you want to do. Monster Jam Showdown. This was an interesting one. Monster Jam Showdown, it's coming in 2024. If you don't know what Monster Jam is, it's the big monster trucks, big wheels. They got really cool designs for like the trucks and stuff like that. Looks like it's mostly going to be like a racing game. There's like a stunt mode, I guess, in the game as well. These monster truck games, these Monster Jam games, they haven't gotten great reviews, especially the last one that came out. Hopefully this one gets some better reviews, and maybe down the road when it's like free on PlayStation or even comes to Xbox Game Pass, I'll play it then. But it's not like Monster Jam is not a thing that I'm like super crazy about. Like, I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I'm gonna get the Battlefront collection probably on 2 different platforms. Monster Jam, I don't think I've played a Monster Jam in my life. The closest I got was the monster truck in Stuntman on the PS2. Next up, the first Berserker Kazan. This is like a third person, almost reminds me of a Souls-like game. I guess it's not really. It is third person. It's more of like a top-down perspective at times. I guess it is third person. I'm joking. I'm still a bit sick, folks. I'm a bit messed up right now. So essentially it's a third-person kind of Souls-like game. There's a parry system. There's a whatever. It looks like they want you to focus on the parry, kind of like Lies of P. It's a hardcore action RPG based on the Dragon and Fighter franchise, an ongoing franchise of 18 years with more than 850 million users worldwide. I don't think I've ever heard of it, but more power to you. Kazan, the great general who overcame death, he sets out to reveal the incidents that led to his downfall and seek vengeance on his enemies. It looks cool. I believe this one is coming to Game Pass. I believe? Maybe not, actually. I'm sorry, this one is not coming to Game Pass, but it looks cool, and that's all that matters. It looks cool. Next up, Tales of Kenzaru Zao is coming in April. This is a Metroidvania coming from EA Originals. It seems like it's using the same engine as the Prince of Persia game, The Lost Crown, but I think the visual style is so much better in this game. Like, as much as I liked Prince of Persia, the the visuals do leave a little bit to be desired at times. There's several areas that are kind of lackluster. It's cool when like the effects happen, but this game looks like it's all effects, all background stuff. It's officially coming April 23rd. Looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, this does look pretty good. If you're a Metroidvania fan, maybe check out this Zao game. If I recall, they showed it off at the Game Awards, and they were saying that it was based on this guy's story or something like that. I don't remember. Lots of editing on this one. All right, Frostpunk 2. Maybe it was a bad idea to record a podcast today. Frostpunk 2 is coming July 25th, and it is coming to PC Game Pass. It's coming to console and Xbox Game Pass on console at a later date. This is like a cult classic management game where you have like the city that is obviously stuck in the cold, and you need to manage different parts of the city to keep your civilians happy and keep production up and keep them alive. So that's coming July 25th, 2024. Should be a pretty interesting time. And then finally, at the end of it all, there was a game called where the heck did it go? Here it is. Kenitsu Gami Path of the Goddess. Now, there's been a couple of gameplay demonstrations for this game this past week. I'm just going to talk about this one here because it's really all you need, even though the other ones do kind of flesh out some of the details. But essentially, it's a third-person, very beautiful-looking game where you save people and recruit them to help defend your settlement or whatever, the like main area of the game that you live in. And you're going through this like this like world that is covered in like yokai presence. I believe it's like Japanese folklore. What? I don't know. You recruit these people to defend your town, and it's like a wave defender at night. You defend the town and defeat like these really crazy looking creatures with them. Seems like it's going to be a pretty cool game. I'm very excited and interested to check this out. It's coming a little bit later in the year, I believe sometime in 2024. But I'm definitely playing this day one when it comes out, and it's also coming to Xbox Game Pass. And it looks pretty cool. I really like how that one looks. And that was the Xbox partner preview. I thought it was pretty good. Indeed. There was a couple games that I thought were interesting. That Unknown 9, Sleight of Hand. I mean, gives you a little bit of like, oh, that's kind of cool. I wish I saw gameplay though. The Altars was a standout. Creatures of Ava was a pretty interesting one. Sinking City 2 was a nice reveal. Stalker Original Trilogy coming out on all platforms, pretty interesting. The first Berserker, getting another look at that was cool, and then the Tales of Kenzaru Zao was also kind of sold me on it a little bit. And then finally, it really landed the punch with that Kunitsu Gami game. So overall, I'd probably give it like a B, a solid B. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was pretty good. And I'm excited to see what else comes from Xbox in the future, I guess. I don't know. The nice thing about partner previews, whether they're Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox, is most of these games come to multiple platforms anyway, so it's not like it's locked on one system, like a State of Play or a Nintendo Direct, usually, which is nice. So it's cool when these things happen, and they're fun little events. So there you go. All right, let's move on to what's in the news. Okay, the Switch emulator got a cease and desist, but also was sued by Nintendo. This is huge. The emulator was called Yuzu, and a lot of people, especially YouTubers who make content like Point Crow and stuff like that, and Doug and stuff like that, people like that, use this to mod the game and create like these crazy challenge runs. A lot of people also use this Yuzu thing to emulate the games to be able to play them for free, which I guess is the main problem here. Yuzu has to pay Nintendo $2.4 million, and you kind of wonder like where that money comes from, because Yuzu is free software, but I think the place where that Nintendo got them was the Patreon. They had a Patreon with like a bunch of people subscribing to them. So I guess that's where the money comes from, I suppose. Nintendo also shut down the emulator for the 3DS called Citra. I don't believe they had to pay any money, though, in that one. So this was a pretty sudden thing in the gaming landscape. All of a sudden, Nintendo was like, and we're taking you all down. The creator of Yuzu and Citra have accepted Nintendo's demand. So I guess Citra is partially owned by Yuzu, or maybe they were working, the person who created them created both of them. So that's why it's a joint thing. Anyway, they accepted Nintendo's demands without any pushback and have agreed to not working on Yuzu, hosting Yuzu, or distributing the code anywhere else. They've even handed the rights to Yuzu to Nintendo, including the yuzu-emu.org website. Nintendo stated that the emulator is primarily designed to circumvent and play Nintendo Switch games, claiming that Yuzu violates DMCA's prohibition on trafficking in devices that circumvent effective technological measures because the software is primarily designed for the purpose of circumventing technological measures, which I think is a roundabout way of saying it's a way to pirate games. Yuzu came out on Twitter and said, "Hello, Yuzu and Citra fans. We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu's support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Yuzu and its team have always been against piracy. We started the projects in good faith out of our passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we were not intending to cause harm, but we see now that because our project can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. We have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on a video game console should end. Effective today, we will be pooling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our website. We hope that our actions will be a small step towards ending piracy of all creators' works. Thank you for your support and understanding of our decision." So, pretty cut and dry. Yeah, this is kind of wild. It really is. Yuzu was one of those things that I thought kind of were going under the radar, but I think Nintendo has been building this case for a while. If they were able to strike so swift and so fast, they probably had people working on it for a while, which is unfortunate because a lot of people use this not just to pirate games, but also to, just have some fun with, mess around with the code and stuff like that. Not everyone who uses the software is a pirate of the software. A lot of people own the base game and then they download the game on Yuzu and they mess around with it or whatever. I'm not sure how exactly it works. I'm not going to claim that I know the ins and outs of Yuzu or Citra or whatever. But basically, I do know that you can mod the games through this system. You can play the games on like a PC or even on like a Steam Deck if you install the Yuzu software on it. And there probably was a pretty proportional amount of people using the code and using the emulated games like the newest Zelda game to essentially cause pirate the game, steal the game, I guess. And we already had this problem come up when Point Crow had his YouTube channel like almost striked out of oblivion by Nintendo. A lot of modded playthroughs of like their Nintendo games. And back then, it's yeah, they can do that, but it's like, why at that point? It's just, and when all that was going down, yeah, it was crazy. It was unprecedented. And now you see that Nintendo has probably gone past Point Crow and been like, okay, he put out this one mod, but there's a whole community on this Yuzu thing, and I think that's where it kind of went to. In similar news, a Game Boy Color emulator called Pizza Emulator. Oh, a company named Pizza Emulator is known for a Game Boy Color and Advance emulator on Android, has decided to permanently remove their app from the Google Play Store. So this was software that was available, I think, for free on the Google Play Store. And essentially you could download it. It has nothing in it. It's just software, but you could download ROMs and hacks and whatever to play multiple Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games. In their statement, they said, "Dear friends and supporters, after 7 incredible years of development and adventures with my apps, I have made the difficult decision to remove them permanently from the Play Store. My family comes first, and for this reason, I have chosen to prioritize my family over the development of my apps. I want to thank each and every one of you for your incredible support over the years. Your words of encouragement, feedback, and constant support have been a source of inspiration for me and my work. Thank you again for everything. You have been fantastic. With gratitude, David." So I think he was scared by this big lawsuit, the amount of money that Nintendo is being or I'm sorry, Yuzu is being made to pay, probably scared them and caused them to be like, okay, we're just not doing this. Which I guess makes sense, you know. I mean, you don't want to be held accountable for a monetary thing when your app was free. I mean, I don't think this guy. I mean, does Pizza Emulators have a Patreon? I don't think so. They didn't mention it, but yeah, there you go. So that's the emulation news for this week. Kind of, it's all been kind of interesting, I would say. It's all been very, very interesting. So yeah, there you go. Next up, the unfortunate news of the passing of Akira Toriyama has gone across the entire video game and anime community. This was the person behind Dragon Ball, and also helped create monster designs and character designs for Dragon Quest and Chrono Trigger. His spin-off manga called Sandland, which we all said was very Dragon Ball-esque. Apparently it's a spin-off manga series that he wrote, is being adapted into a game. So unfortunately he won't live to see this new game being put out, which is very sad. He was a dominant person in the anime and manga universe area for 45 years. He had his first success with Dr. Slump. But of course, his global fame came when he released Dragon Ball, which debuted in 1984. He's worked on many projects throughout the years, adapting his Dragon Ball series and stuff like that, but he was apparently working on several new books as well, new mangas as well. So he has some unfinished stuff, which maybe someone can finish up for him, who he trusted. In the video game universe, people who play Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, who obviously Xenoverse 2 still has like over 1 million players. They all came together in a lobby, and they were doing an emote for him, I guess, which was very nice sight to see. You can see that on Twitter. There was also several people in the world of video games, like PlayStation, Xbox, and stuff, who put out sympathies to his family. Dragon Quest, the official Dragon Quest Twitter, and then also even a couple of people who play football, soccer. In the middle of their game, they started doing the Dragon Ball Kamehameha symbols. So yeah, very sad, but his legacy will live on, and Dragon Ball is still very, very popular. It's still one of my favorite series in terms of anime. Even though I've never watched the full thing. When I was a kid, when I was like, I guess maybe more like middle school, I was very much into Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball and stuff, and Gundam. So it definitely left a mark on many people's lives, and will continue to throughout the years, because his work is kind of timeless, I guess you could say. All right, Mario Day. What is today, actually, the day I'm recording this. So if I missed something, it's probably because it came out too late. But I think we got most of the big stuff here. So Nintendo did a Mario Day video. They released it in all the different regions. They announced that Miyamoto announced actually that they are working on the new film based on the Super Mario Bros. The, I guess, sequel to the Mario movie, which is planned to be released on April 3rd in 2026 in the U.S. and other markets. They also, I guess they really didn't have any details to share other than like, hey, we're working on it together and we're doing more stuff in the Mario world and universe. So we'll see how that is. I do hope that it's got a bit more. I watched the Mario Bros. Movie. You have to go back to that episode because I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember being kind of just like they revealed too much, I guess you could say, in the trailer. So like more than half the movie was like, okay, we've already seen this, I want them to hold back a little bit with their trailers next time to have more fun with the movie. They also announced that they are going to be re-releasing the Mario Bros. Movie in cinemas. AMC theaters around, I guess, the world, will be showing the movie sometime around the 28th of June. If you want to catch that back in theaters again. Also, Nintendo confirmed that the Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remaster is going to be coming on May 23rd. They also revealed that Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming June 27th. So, if you're excited for either of those, there you go. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, pretty close. May, not too far away. A little bit after April. The Luigi's Mansion 2 coming out late June. I guess that's kind of when Luigi's Mansion 3 released, if I remember correctly. I think it was around that time. So, interesting, I guess you could say. They didn't reveal anything new coming to either game, so I think they are pretty much straight remasters or remakes coming around. That Luigi's Mansion 2, though, being $60, that's kind of scammy, if you ask me. So, that's just my opinion, though. Also, they revealed that 3 Mario games are coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service on the 12th of March. I don't know why they couldn't release it today, or them today, but whatever. They're going to include 3 Game Boy games. Dr. Mario for the Game Boy, and Mario Golf and Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Color. Those are all going to be available on March 12th, if you want to check those out. I believe these ones do not require the expansion pass. That would be the Game Boy Advance games. But those are the 3 Mario games that they are bringing to the service. They also revealed 3 new Lego sets in the Mario universe. The Bowser Express train is probably the coolest, but it's also the most expensive at $120. It's based off of that one, or I guess a couple of boss fights from Mario 3D World. It's a pretty cool one. It's got the Bowser train, and like the smoke goes up and down as the wheels move, which is really cool. It's got a cannon on it. It's got a caboose. It's got whatever. So that's actually a pretty cool one. I like the idea of this one. King Boo's Haunted Mansion. It's exactly what you think it is. It's almost like a castle-looking medieval type place. But it's got it's got King Boo, it's got dry bones, it's got a bunch of different stuff inside that reminds you of the mansion, the Boo Mansion. And then finally there is the Battle with Roy at Peach's Castle. This one has the least amount to it. It's definitely the most basic set, even though it's still $70. But essentially it's like the shell of Peach's Castle in the front that kind of folds and opens. And then there's some stuff on the inside, of course, but the main thing is the chain chomp with the boss battle guy. So there you go. I think that last one is a bit lackluster in my opinion. The other ones are cool though. And then they also teased that something Mario Kart related Lego will be releasing in 2025. I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Mario Kart that you build and then race. Maybe it'll be compatible with the Mario Kart game that came out with that uses the AR functionality or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then Princess Peach Showtime does have a demo out right now. It's available on the Switch eShop right now. The demo has you go through a couple of levels, including a Sword Fighter Peach level and a patisserie chef level as well. I will be honest, it's a bit basic for both the sword fighting and the pastry stuff. But I'm still going to check it out on March 22nd. So if you want to check that out, the demo is available right now. Okay. Deviation Games has been closed down. They partnered with Sony back in 2020. 2 people from the Call of Duty developer area inside of Activision broke off and founded their own studio in 2020. They were working on an original IP, which is going to be exclusive to PlayStation, and they had to close down. I believe this is part of the 900 layoffs that PlayStation is doing right now. In a announcement, they said, "It is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Deviation Games. I want to express my deepest gratitude to our entire team. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication and contributions to Deviation. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to have worked with each and every one of you. Back in 2022, the co-founder Jason Blundell left the studio, which maybe shows that there was some trouble going on with the development process, or maybe it was taking too long or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, essentially about 100 people lost their job here when the studio closed. They are going to be doing like some sort of networking event where they want people who have been laid off to come and show off what they can do at like this event, and they would like any and all companies and studios that are hiring to participate in it to try and get some of these people their jobs back, which is really nice of them to do. So unfortunately, Deviation Games closed down. Who knows? I mean, the game that they were working on, kaput, probably put on the back burner or completely canceled. Unfortunately, but there you go. The Fallout series coming to Amazon Prime had got a new trailer. It kind of looks a lot better than that first trailer. They definitely have shaped it up to be looking better. And all the things we see are from different parts of the from the show, so it's not like the same stuff again like before. But yeah, I mean, it's looking actually really good, and I do think that once again there are like 3 storylines going on at the same time, which is what I kind of thought. Well, I guess before I was like, oh, maybe there's like a story per character, like an episode per character or whatever, because they were showing a lot of characters, but it seems like there's 3 main characters here who are going to be in the Fallout universe, and their paths are going to crisscross and stuff like that, which is a really interesting thing. Lots of references to the games in here, of course. Lots of cool stuff in here. I think that this is going to be pretty good. I mean, don't quote me on it, but I think it's going to be pretty good. It's coming to Amazon Prime, so I do have Amazon Prime, so that's nice. But there's some great costumes in there, some nice CGI in there, and I got the acting wasn't as cringe as I thought it was going to be. So there you go. Should be kind of interesting. We'll see how it all turns out in the end. Spider-Man 2 got a update recently to add New Game Plus and all that stuff, but Insomniac accidentally left a dev menu in there that could possibly corrupt your save file if you mess around with it. This was discovered almost immediately after the update came out that people could access the development menu of the game, which did spoil some future plans, I think, for the game. I'm not going to talk about them here, though. I didn't even look at them myself, of course. So accessing the developer debug menu could corrupt your save file and disrupt trophy progress. So you could potentially ruin your chances of getting a trophy too. This was an unintended addition to the update. On Twitter, they came out and said, "We're aware that the latest game update may have inadvertently allowed access to the development game menu. There's a hotfix on the way. Please note that using this menu could corrupt your saves and whatever. There is no risk associated with playing the game as intended. So if you play the game as normal without going to the debug menu, you'll be fine. But if you do go into that debug menu and do some stuff in there, that will that could cause some things to go wrong. So I'm guessing the hotfix will be out relatively soon. I mean, it's still not out though. I mean, this was on Thursday. I don't believe it's out yet. So I don't know, but I'm sure they'll get it out within the next week or so. Staying on the Sony path here, there was a demo that was released for Stellar Blade on the eShop. People actually played the entire demo. Had pretty good things to say about it. Had a very brief appearance on the PlayStation 5, but the demo was taken down pretty quickly after about 25 minutes. Sony removed it from the digital showcase, marketplace, and then recently, Sony even did a background update for the game to cause it to not work on the system anymore. It just gives you like an error message or something like that, or maybe like a message pops up on the main menu. So if you did download it, I guess disconnect from the internet before playing it, I guess. But people had some fun with it, I guess. Essentially, the demo was like the first hour of the game, which was pretty cool. Were already kind of showing around the different outfits and stuff they found inside the game from that first hour. There's one that's like a skin tight, skin tone, like form fitting thing. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a horny game. I think it's also going to be a pretty good one too, though. We've seen a lot about the game that has been exceptionally good, and also, you know, the people who have been playing the demo say that's pretty good too. So I guess we can expect this demo to come out soon. I don't know how or why it was released early, but someone got some dates wrong, I think. All right, there's 2 games coming to PC from PlayStation. We got Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition. This is coming to PC on March 21st. The Complete Edition is going to need some pretty crazy stuff to get working. So the recommended settings are medium graphics style, 1080p with a 60 FPS, Intel Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5, 16 gigabytes of DDR, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 or an ADM Radeon RX 5700, 150 gigabytes of SSD space, and Windows 10 64-bit to run it at recommended settings. If you want to go to the highest settings, I don't even know if you want to hear this. To work at 4K and very high graphics settings, you need an iCore i7 or an AMD Ryzen 7, 16 gigabytes DDR, NVIDIA 4080, and an AMD 7900 XT. And then, yeah, the rest is the same. So there you go. There's the stuff for that. If you get the Complete Edition on PC, you'll get the Karja Behemoth Elite Outfit and Short Bow, the Nora Thunder Elite Outfit and Sling Photo Mode, of course. Apex Claw Strider Strike Piece for the little board game in the game, in-game resource pack, digital soundtrack, digital audiobook, the Sunhawk digital comic book, and also the Black Tide die outfit and bow. You'll also get the Burning Shores DLC as well, of course. Also, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is coming to PC as well, coming in May 16th. If you don't know, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best games that I've played. I think it's a really, really good game. And the DLC for it, or the free up DLC for it, whatever comes in it was DLC. The DLC for the Director's Cut is pretty good, the Iki Island. I don't see the specs for this one, but I think it's about the same as Horizon. So look for i5s and whatever. So there you go. Well, pretty cool. Sony also did like a little tiny showcase for India developers, people who are developing games in India. Last year they did the China Hero Project. This year they're doing the India Hero Project. Here's the games that they showed off. Meteora, The Race Against Space-Time, is a combat arcade racer. It has you controlling a meteor as it hurtles through the cosmos. Kind of cool. Fishbowl is a melancholic story-driven adventure game set in India, featuring lo-fi music and pixel art visuals. The game has a relaxed feel, but tackles things of grief, connection, and self-discovery. Another game called Mukti is about human trafficking. It's a game where you explore a labyrinth in an Indian museum in first person to discover more about human trafficking. That's a pretty crazy subject matter to tackle. So yeah, there you go. Requital Gates of Blood is an exploration of Egyptian mythology through the lens of a side-scrolling action platformer. You'll play as Zara, and you'll help her fight her way out of the afterlife realm of Duat with a boss rush-like encounter mythical beasts. Kind of interesting. And then finally, Suri the Seventh Note is a 2D action platformer. The Seventh Note explores India's mythology, exploring mystical areas like floating Himalayan temples and ancient jungles. There's a bit of a jumping and running rhythmic slant to the game, which will synchronize seamlessly with the engrammatic beat. There you go. Some interesting stuff in there. You know, I like the ideas around most of these games. So there you go. All right, let's switch to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. WB has officially come out and said that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has fallen short of their expectations after about a month of the game being on consoles and PC, and they have doubled down on their commitment to live service games, which is pretty crazy when you think about it, because Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter game that came out early last year, was like one of the best-selling games last year. And Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is probably not going to be on any lists that are best-selling. It's probably going to show up on some of the worst games of the year lists. So it's kind of crazy. I don't know if they're just tone deaf or they're blinded by their greed, but I mean, I think the market shows that people want more single player, or I guess co-op experiences rather than live service games, just from these two games alone. But the WB Discovery Gaming boss named JB Perrette talked about the road ahead for WB Games and the direction that he wants to take it. Rather than just launching a one-and-done console game, how do we develop a game around, for example, Hogwarts Legacy or Harry Potter that is live service, where people can live and work and build and play in the world that is on an ongoing basis? They claim that the AAA console gaming landscape is a violent market right now, which is obviously true. There's so many layoffs going on, and there's so many heads button in this world. But I think it just goes to show that live service games are not going to be around forever. I think WB is trying to push live service right now, and it's just not going to work out for them. I mean, even Ubisoft's live service games like Skull and Bones have fallen short of the expectations there too. I think that the writing's on the wall here, and people don't like how many live service games are coming out. When it was just Destiny, I mean, people were fine with it because it's like, oh, it's Destiny. It was like a first of its time next to like that Melee game that's kind of like Destiny. War. Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called right now. But still, I think that one live service game a year is good enough, and we've already gotten like 3. So tell me where the problem is. Dragon's Dogma 2 released its character creator. It's out now on all different systems. It's a 4.4 gigabyte size download, but it allows you to create your character before the game releases. And the game is set to release on the 22nd of March. So if you're a person who likes to really fine-tune your character in the character creator, you can make up to 5 different characters called Arisen. You can also create 5 main pawns who are some companions with you throughout the game as well. You can transfer these creations over to the full game when it launches on the 22nd of March. So like I said, if you're a person who spends a lot of time creating characters, you might want to get the jump on that and check it out. Or if you just want to see like how the game's looking visually, I guess the character creator is a good way to start that off. So there you go. Check that out. Crypt of the Necro Dancer is coming back with a new DLC called Synchrony. Yes, Synchrony. The game originally released back in 2018, about 5-6 years ago now. And it's finally getting a new DLC with a new character. Oh, I'm sorry, 3 new characters. So you have Chaunter, who possesses enemies and fights using their powers. Suzu, a speedy character with an invincible dash attack. And Clarinetta, who does battle with a huge 2-handed sword. Also, the new version will drop on consoles alongside the DLC with a free update that'll give you some quality of life changes. Cross-platform multiplayer and mod support is also coming around as well, which is pretty interesting. So you'll be able to actually play modded content on consoles? Is that what it's saying? I guess so. Kind of interesting. Pretty cool. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Unleashed is the new Turtles game coming to consoles later this year in 2024. This is based off of the most recent movie, animated movie called Mutant Mayhem, which I found to be really fun. I thought it was better than the Mario Bros. Movie. Not as good as the Puss in Boots Last Wish movie, but it still was pretty good. We really enjoyed it when we went to go see it. It's going to be a 3D brawler platformer, which takes place shortly after the events of the animated movie. A new brand of mutants are descending on New York, and it's up to the heroes in Half Shell to stop them. There's no trailers for it right now, but there is some screenshots. It's trying to emulate the style of the movie, so it's got like that blocky texture, comic booky type look to it. I think it's looking pretty good from the screenshots we've seen here. Definitely will check that out when a trailer comes around. The standard edition of the game is going to be about $40, and there's going to be a special edition exclusive to Walmart for whatever reason. There you go. Temtem has finally announced its final major update, and it's also removing all the monetization in the game. So this is going to be patch 1.8. 1.7 is coming out in June, and then 1.8 is coming out a little bit later with some balance changes and whatever. So, monetization microtransactions are going to be removed in patch 1.7. I guess there'll be some in-game currency, I suppose. And then 1.8, tamers will be able to select from any tamer pass that came out. Okay, so they had like season passes, I guess. I haven't really followed Temtem that closely. So they had some season passes. You'll be able to select the different passes to try and unlock all the stuff in them. Okay, that's nice. I mean, obviously Temtem was in early access for quite some time. It has monetization to help fund the game, essentially. So it's nice that they were working on the game for so long, because I think the game came out in like 2019 or something like that. It was pretty fun, but once again, I'm not like a huge Pokemon guy, so it didn't really speak to me personally, but I know a lot of people who spent a lot of time in it. There's a new Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 Xbox Series X. That's going to be a new bundle. You'll be able to actually buy it at retailers. They say even though it's Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, it's SpongeBob themed all the way. It's not like all the different characters. It's SpongeBob. So SpongeBob is the Xbox Series X, and the controller has a bunch of different characters from SpongeBob, including SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Plankton, Gary, and Squidward. So there you go. Once again, it's not like a All-Star Brawl theme. It's more like a SpongeBob theme with All-Star Brawl bundled in, which is nice. I mean, the game was good, so can't complain. Is this going to make me go out and buy an Xbox Series X? No, but it is coming to Best Buy on Thursday, March 7th, so it's already available if you want to check that out. Here are 5 games that have been confirmed for Game Pass in April, Xbox Game Pass. So we got Turbo Golf Racing coming in on April 4th. On April 9th, we have Botany Manor. April 24th, we have Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. April 25th, we got another Crab's Treasure. April 26th, we have Manor Lords, only on PC. And that's it. So if you're interested in any of those, make sure you check those out. All right, let's move over to the final part of the show for this episode, which is going to be, what have I been playing this past week? All right. I apologize. This episode's really rough. I hope that I can edit out the stuff that's been happening, coughing and whatever. I'll try my best. But stick with me for a little bit longer. I'm going to try and go through this a little bit fast. So I finished Skull and Bones this past week, and tragically, it was a very lackluster campaign experience by the end of it. The game ended with a boss fight that you can do in the open world when the special events happen. And, well, I guess the story ended with that. And then there was no bombastic anything. There was no cutscene. There was no credit roll, nothing like that. The game just started to loop me into an endless task of acquiring materials to make the rum, the black market rum, and then transport it to places to get pieces of 8 and then transfer them back to the base. And I did it like 3 times in a row, and I'm like, okay, is this it? What do I do next? Why can't I, what's going on? Because there's a whole part of the map that's still covered in fog. Like almost half the map is covered in fog still. So I'm like, oh, maybe at the end of this part of the campaign, we'll move on to the next part of the map. Nope. That's pretty much it. I'm guessing the next season or next content drop is going to unlock more of the map and give you a higher level cap. because right now the game is kind of capped at like 15. If you get all, if you grind pieces of 8, the silver you need to buy better equipment, you can get your stuff up to level 15, which is higher than mostly everything in the game. As of right now, I was like level 11 when I stopped doing stuff because the pieces of 8 stuff is just so boring. You literally go from the port where the black market stuff is, or there's 2 ports they can do black market stuff from, but I was mostly doing the white rum one because everything was closer. But you have to sail all the way to the place where you need to drop off the materials, and then you have to sail all the way back. No fast traveling allowed. And during that, there's ships attacking you, which is fine. It's not like that crazy, but the journey there is just so long. The journey back is so long. There's even farther away places you can go to for more money. So I started doing those, and that got really boring pretty fast. Because once you reach level 11, nothing's really going to stop you. There's some ships with armor that are more difficult, but for the most part, you can kind of get through everything without too much of a hassle. So once I got super bored with that, I looked up on a playthrough of the game online, and I had been playing for like 3 or 4 extra hours after beating the campaign, and they were like, "Yep, that's it. Can't they were like, the next drop is probably gonna have the next part of the game or whatever." And I was just kind of flabbergasted. I was like, "What? You're selling this game for $70? The campaign is like the base campaign is 20 hours long, and the rest of the game, everything, the only other thing you can do in the game is grind these fucking pieces of 8. This is bullshit." I got genuinely pissed about it because not only was I enjoying my time with the game when it actually had objectives to do and stuff, I was enjoying the combat, and when the game was done, like, stuff just started to really bore me because it's like we're not doing anything interesting. We're just sailing from one place to the other, and then we're getting the money. And the grind was so tedious. I was just done with it. I really was, and it's one of those things that's like, if it wasn't a live service game, we wouldn't have this problem. But here we are, live service game. They needed to half-ass the ending of the campaign to make way for the main grind of it. And kind of like what people have been saying about Suicide Squad, the side mission content is not that interesting. It's mostly just repeating stuff where you attack this or do this and bring it back, bring the stuff back. It's not that interesting. The bases around the map are pretty much all the same. The world events happen too infrequently, in my opinion, because there's a part of the black market stuff where you need to capture bases to produce more white rum or whatever for you. And I literally only had 2 pop up in my entire time I was playing after I had unlocked the ability to join those events. And at that point, I was like, what, am I supposed to just wait around for the event to happen, And the other thing, too, like, occasionally I would run into a lot of players, kind of group up with them and help them out with what they're doing, and they would, in turn, like, help me if I was stuck. But I was seeing less and less people, which made the events so barren. I would go do this. There's a world event where you take down these merchant ships that are guarded by the boss of the campaign I was talking about. And I was the only person, like, I tried to do it 3 times. The third time I did get it done, but all 3 times, no one joined me. There's, like, little boss fights that happen throughout the world that you can do to earn extra money. And my first couple days, people would join me all the time, and then once again, I was doing a bunch of them solo. The events to take over areas to produce white rum. I don't think I ever battled with someone else when I was doing those, so it's like whatever. So yeah, it's already a dead game, and it's unfortunate because the bones were good, but the skull was no, I'm kidding. the meat and bones of the game are good. The combat's fun. I think that when you're doing those story missions, it works pretty well. I mean, it's got some fun stuff in the campaign. But after that, it's just useless. And when you look at a game like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it has really good side content to do in that one, and the ship combat is about this. It's on the same level, kind of. But it's got all the other stuff working for it, though. It's got the on-ground combat. It's got the boarding. It's got the assassin stuff in there. It's got, all that stuff. So, like, in the end, like, yeah, I'm kind of siding with the people now who are like, just play Assassin's Creed 4. Like, yeah, just play Assassin's Creed 4. I mean, Skull and Bones, it's just going to go down in history as another failure for Ubisoft, another failed live service game, which is sad because I was really excited for this game for quite some time. And Dead Island 2 last year really surprised me. It's one of those games that was in purgatory for a long time in development hell. And it came out and it was good. I really enjoyed it. Skull and Bones, it had too many fingers in the pie and in the pudding. I don't know what the expression is, but it just had too many people essentially saying like, yeah, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, and in the end it turned into something that just shouldn't have been. It should have been a single player game. They should have had some sort of on ground combat in there, boarding at least ships and taking them over. And in the end, instead of it being like a fun co-op pirate game, it's just kind of like a mediocre live service experience that never does anything more than you expect it to do. And you have to wait for multiple seasons to get more content to play with, and it's just kind of annoying. So yeah, Skull and Bones, in the end, I think I gave it a 3 out of 5, which is a very generous 3 out of 5. But in the end, I don't think it's not like I disliked the game. I just got really bored with it, which I think in turn is like, that's a 3 out of 5. That's a mediocre, like that's an average score. EA, speaking of I guess EA, no, Ubisoft was Skull and Bones. I apologize. But anyway, EA released the Command & Conquer games, all of them on Steam. You don't have to use the EA app or Origin to open them up. So I bought the entire collection. Even though I have the collection on disc, my computer doesn't have a disc drive. And even, you can get an external one. I do have an external one, but yeah, whatever. Shut up. So I bought the games, and I played through Command & Conquer Generals, which is still a really good RTS game. Not as good as 0 Hour, but still really good. The campaign was actually better than I was expecting, because I've always played the 0 Hour campaign, but I never played like the Generals one, besides from like the first level on each of them. They're actually pretty good campaign levels. The USA one was obviously the best. I think it had the best like cutscenes and the best gameplay. They get best layout. But it was still a really good time. I really enjoyed my time with Command & Conquer Generals. In the end, I gave it like a 4 out of 5. I think that it still really stands up. The early Command & Conquer games... Command & Conquer Generals and 0 Hour are two of like the best RTS games out there. Even to this day, they just... especially 0 Hour definitely was like... it's just so good, So I do want to play through like the 0 Hour campaign and do like the Generals battles too, because that was one of the most fun things to be in Command & Conquer. And it's unfortunate that the multiplayer isn't working for it, and the workarounds for it that we used in the past aren't working right now because the Steam version is different. But hopefully something happens that allows the Steam version to be playable in multiplayer, because the game works really well. Like I'm astonished. It actually runs better than the Origin version of the game. Like in the Origin version of the game, like the trees sway too fast and everything seems sped up and whatever. The music's kind of whack. But in this version, the game runs perfect. Like it actually runs perfect, other than having to go to the game files and change the resolution to 1920 by 1080. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And they're selling it right now for like $7, which is pretty cool. So check that out on Steam if you haven't yet. Speaking of Steam games, I bought a couple of Steam games this past week. One of them being Corporation: The Sorting Process. This is like a Papers, Please kind of game where you sort chemicals into different containers, and each day there's like a new thing to look out for. So it's not as hardcore, I guess, as Papers, Please, but you still run the risk of being fired and not being able to pay for things. It does have a background story going on, which does end pretty interestingly, so that was nice. But for the most part, I I found the game to be fine. It wasn't like anything too special. I was really hoping that it was going to be something really cool because the graphic style is fun. I like the idea of the game, the sorting and stuff like that. But during your off time, when you're not doing the sorting, you're supposed to play like these fighting, like there's a fighting game and there's solitaire, and you're supposed to play it every day. And I just got so bored of playing solitaire, man. And the fighting game wasn't like great. And even though I like the idea of having these mini games in there and having them be important to your overall, experience with the game, it was just one of those things where it's like I don't want to play solitaire for the 50th time in a row, please. And if you don't play those games, the company's like, oh, the company you're working for is like, oh, you didn't do your daily fighting game. It's like, okay. So essentially what I would do is I would boot them up, play like a second, and then they close it. It seemed to fib the game a little bit, but yeah, it's worth playing if you like Papers, Please and stuff like that. But in general, it did wear out its welcome towards the end with those mini games having to play those mini games. The other Steam game, New Star GP. I talked about this game a little bit a couple episodes ago. It's a F1 arcade racing game with kind of like polygon graphics, sort of. And I was very interested in playing this because I'm not a huge simulation fan, but when you put the word arcade in front of simulation, that kind of gets me interested because there's a lot of games that are arcadey but also have some simulation elements to them that I really enjoy. And this one is definitely one that I would recommend to people who enjoy racing games, whether they be arcade or simulation fans. This one has a good mix of both of those elements. So arcadey, as in the game doesn't have any advanced things for driving your vehicle and stuff like that, like Gran Turismo. Like there's nothing like super crazy in depth that's going to be confusing. It's a racing game. You press the trigger to go, and you press the brake to stop. And there's a boost. There's a boost in the game as well. The simulation aspect is in there when there's like in the different courses there's the preferred path to take. There's also different customization options with your vehicle that make it run better. And there's also the different tires you need to put on for different types of track. So you have your normal tires for pavement, you have hard tires that last longer, and then you also have the wet tires for when it rains. And knowing what the forecast is going to be and when the stop for the pit stop to change out your tires is a big thing in the game, and I really enjoy that. I think that the loop of this game is so fun, where you kind of train on the course a little bit, doing the different arcade modes, like just doing like a checkpoint race or doing an elimination race where the person in last place every so often gets eliminated, right? And then you do your race around the track, which is like 9 or 10 laps. And that's the most fun of the game. And I'm not like a lot of times racing games will kind of lose me after a while because they're very one note. This one has been keeping me enthralled. I think I played for about 5 hours or so far, and it has been a really good time. So if you want to check this out, New Star GP, it's like $30 on Steam. I think it's also available on PlayStation, Xbox. It's pretty good. I'm actually really enjoying it, and I think you should check it out. Maybe check out a trailer or some gameplay. I finished Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered. It's definitely worth picking up. I don't have much to say other than it was good. I enjoyed it. Excuse me. There you go. It's a good one. I think I'd wait for a sale though, because it's not like they really added anything to it. But $30 for this game was a bit much in my opinion. So maybe wait for like a $10 sale or something like that. Pick it up and check it out, because it is a fun boomer shooter type game. I talked about it last episode, so check it out there. The Expendabros. This is a game that came out in 2014, and I never finished it. I got like halfway through the game, and I went back to Broforce, which is what this game is based on. So Expendabros was essentially made by Devolver Digital, or whoever made Broforce, to help promote the new Expendables movie, Expendables 3. And it's free. So it's like 10 levels. It's got like 6 or 7 characters to play as who are the Expendables in the game. And that's it. And I would have rather have seen the Expendabros or the characters just be put into Broforce, but the problem is that the Expendabros are just a reskin of characters that you play as in Broforce. So there would really be no point. Other than like, hey, I want to play as this character, Caesar from Expendables. So all in all, it's not like worth playing, but if you're an Expendables fan, I guess it is worth playing for you. But if you're not a huge fan of the Expendables and you don't care, and you're not trying to complete games, just head over to Broforce. It's a much better experience. It has more not customization. It has more characters to unlock, more things to do, more levels. It's a little bit more difficult. So I would check out Broforce over Expendables any day, obviously. But if you want like a short Broforce experience, Expendables is right there for you. And finally, I did dive back into Helldivers 2, but on PC. I got a refund for my PlayStation 5 version, and I acquired the PC version for the game. I'm not going to say that I was 100% wrong about the game when it came out, but they have updated the game and improved the game a lot since I played it. I also think that the PC version of the game runs better. I really do. It looks better, it runs better. I haven't had any crashes, I haven't had any problems, graphical problems, glitches, anything like that, which was abundant in the PS5 release of the game. They recently added mechs, which is pretty cool. I also kind of learned how to play the game a little bit. I watched a couple videos of people talking about the game because I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so different on this game, and why did I not enjoy it? It's because I was playing it too much like a third person, like regular shooter like Gears of War, or even a Souls-like game in general, where you're trying to like dodge the attacks and move around the enemies and blah blah blah. The game expects you to die. That's the thing that kind of was hammered into my head, and that's the thing that I've kind of gone forward with, is like you're supposed to die in the game. You get all these different lives, and you're able to be called back in because the game expects you to die. They have helped the balancing, though. I have been playing on medium, and instead of it being like a slaughter for me and my team, it's been pretty equal, which is nice. So they definitely changed the balancing on the different difficulties, which is great. That's what I was really asking for when the game originally came out. And also, I've learned how to unlock new weapons. Wow, what do you know? But the problem is that the game didn't really explain these things to you well enough, I think. There's also like a first-person aiming mode when you press middle mouse button, which was never introduced in the tutorial. I feel like the tutorial did a bad job of explaining the game. I think in general the tutorial was good, but it didn't do enough to tell you about the game. Like, why didn't you show me how to use the store? Why didn't you tell me how to go in the first person mode? Why didn't you tell me how to blah 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 blah? And some of the quick hints on the game too are like press prone to dodge enemy attacks. That's what we were doing the entire time. I don't use prone anymore. I just don't do the jump the prone anymore. I just run away. It's much better of a tactic than trying to dodge and then getting pummeled by 1,000 bugs or the robots. That's the other thing too. I think I should have tried the robots mode when I was playing it before, because the robots are actually really fun to fight. A little bit more fun than the bugs, even though I'm having a good time with the bugs now. The robots are pretty cool. I like fighting the robots, actually. They're actually really fun. It kind of feels more like a Terminator game than a Helldivers game, but I'll take it. So in general, I'm having a much better time with the game. I'm going to reserve further judgment for playing it more, obviously, because like right now I've played about 6 or 7 hours on Steam. But that's the thing, though. On PlayStation, I played about 2 hours, and I said, I can't take this anymore. On Steam, we've been going back to it. I've been playing it multiple times. The game's growing on me. The game really is growing on me, and I think that the better performance of the game, the better visuals of the game, and understanding the game's mechanics more have helped. Also, not having that frustrating time of the game, flooding us with too many bugs for the difficulty we're playing on has also helped a lot too. And I do plan on moving up in the difficulty selection, but right now I think having 2 people in a squad, me and my other half, have been playing the game a lot. I think medium's a good place for 2 people, but if we get more people to join, we'll probably up the difficulty a little bit. But as of right now, I'm enjoying the game now, which is good. And I think they've improved the game a lot with these updates. I think the PC version in general is better. I like the keyboard and mouse controls over the controller. So that's actually rare for me too. I actually play a lot of games with the controller. So take that with what you will. That's my piece. That's me saying my piece right there. All right. I appreciate anyone who has been listening to this for as long as this has been going. I'm still sick. I apologize. I probably shouldn't have even recorded this episode. But that being said, I appreciate you tuning in. I am planning on getting back to streaming this week when I'm feeling better. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. The song Nightshade, used in the intro and outro, is owned by Adhesive Wombat. Small sound clips during the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. News sources include NintendoLife.com, PushSquare.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions video game related are my own. Thank you for listening.